top priority is inspiring transformational change, personally, professionally, and politically. A 25-year-old plus performance coach, speaker, and consultant, she has worked with household names like Apple to J.P. Morgan, Ronald McDonald House, the United States Marines, and others. She is the author of 5 books on sales, sales management, coaching, and change. Her newest book, Women, Wealth, and Giving, The Virtuous Legacy of the Boom Generation, gives boomers a game plan for changing the world through philanthropy and charitable giving. Niki is the co-founder of the Foundation for Responsible Television, which produces the McCuistion TV program, now in its 22nd year with KERA PBS, Dallas, and NETA syndication. The program has earned numerous Telly Awards, Katie Awards for journalistic excellence, and Women in Communication Clarion Awards. She is also the filmmaker for the controversial Roots of War, The Road to Peace, documentary on root causes of terrorism and what led to 9/11. This work included interviews on the ground from Iraq to Syria, Israel, Palestine, to Saudi Arabia, and places in between with officials, students, everyday citizens, and jihadists. She has marched Old Jerusalem with Martin Luther King III, confronted Hezbollah officials in remote Syrian villages, and got a little too close for comfort, car bombings. And she's seen the Arab Spring, its most recent inception. Her experiences and conversations in the last 7 years have brought her new perspectives and insights into the human condition, the subject of her newest work. She's been honored as National Council of U.S. Arab Relationships Malone Fellow, a Woman of Peace Ambassador by the International Women's Peace Federation, among others. And she is a CSP, and she is also the first recipient of the Charbonneau Award. So please, let's welcome Niki McCuistion. Thank you.
What I also remember is that in my presidency, I didn't need glasses. I could actually look out and see you without you kind of being vague and fuzzy and all of that good stuff. And I also didn't need notes. Man, that was a long time ago. Wow. One of my very favorite philosopher, archaeologist actually, a social worker, Margaret Mead, said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." And as I look out at my friends, some of you who are past presidents, some of you not, but something to aspire to, what I know of each one of us in this room, and especially those of us past presidents, is that blood, sweat, and tears, we really put our heart and our soul into the year or years that we were president to truly make not just the Speakers Association, not just us, not just national, not just our chapter, not just Dallas, but I truly do believe that as speakers and those of us in positions of leadership, we change the world. We touch people. And so I have in about 17 and a half minutes about 12 speakers who are past presidents who are used to holding this microphone, most of whom are taller and bigger than I am, therefore more powerful and stronger, right? And I'd like to, first here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go around very, very quickly, but then I also want, as I call your name, to come on up here, because a couple of questions that I'm going to ask them that they've been thinking about, I think we can all kind of benefit from because it touches our heart as well as our head as well. So the first thing, just very, very quickly, as I roam around with this, it's just too much. I mean, look, you know, if I look at you and call you Gary, do you understand I'm not wearing this? All right, that's a fair enough thing, right? So, yeah, there we go. So, 2 to 3 words, if you would, as a past president, what would you say your year was about?
Do we get to stand? Do we get to actually touch the microphone?
I'll share.
Probably not. Probably not. You know.
I'm an only child. I mean, come on.
So am I. Yes. You know better than that. What was my year about? Wow, it was a building year, as every year is. It was a year of, I hope, warmth and engagement. I absolutely loved what Wendy said this morning. Thank you for that, because I think that that is what all of us have worked really hard to have, that feeling of warmth and welcoming and of being at home. So thank you for your comments. Thanks.
Thank you.
Nikki,
A little closer, Michael,
Yeah.
is fine.
my year was about connection.
I'm single.
Yeah. My year was a very specific focus, and that was on being successful on purpose. It was having goals in the beginning of the year to really come back to at the end of the year, and throughout the year approaching what we do in a very systematic, on purpose way to not be victims of our success, but creative of our success, and that was our big focus. You're welcome.
Hello, Nikki.
Alex.
My year Dancing with the Stars wasn't just about thinking out of the box, it was about kicking it out of the box. And one of the things that we did was make sure that we were bringing all kinds of new and innovative ways of looking at how you as speakers could just knock audiences off their feet.
Thank you, Alex. Gary.
My year was about positive passion. Our theme was passion for the platform, and what we really did that year was help every mid to upper level speaker know exactly why they were standing in front of an audience and know how they were going to impact that audience with their passion and with their excitement.
Thank you, Gary. Steve.
If you're considering being a president of this chapter and ever raising your hand, there are two secrets to it, and I'll share one now and one later when we do the story. The first one is follow Bette Price. She took a chapter that was in deep trouble. We'd had 3 consecutive bad years, and she put it on her shoulders and put a board together and turned the whole thing around. And so when it became my turn, we had a great situation already going. So that's secret number one.
Bravo. Thank you very much. And with that said, Betty, I'm going to come back to you last.
Mine was Follow Susan Gatton. So we started with Journey to Influence. That was our theme. And what it ended up being was about innovation, but even more than that, about commitment. So even though we had some volunteers that maybe didn't follow through with some of their commitments, the ones that did blew it out of the water. So,
Thank you, Linda. I can still see a little bit. It's okay. We're good. Sally, come stand up here.
I've got vertigo, so y'all just excuse me. My year was about drugs. Specifically, Valium and Prozac. It's a wonderful thing. I know, really, seriously, I have vertigo. My year was building a new blueprint. So it was all about rediscovering yourself. It was an extreme makeover. So people that had been in business for a while. And so I would say it was a year rich in content.
Thank you very much. Drugs, huh?
And my year was about endless imagination. JFK challenged us to go to the moon, and I said, let's go to the moon, and that's what we did. We said, how much value can we bring to the membership? And man, it was invigorating, challenging, and outrageously successful.
Thank you, Susan. Notice she's taller than I. She took the mic away from me. And I let her. Now, I realize that some of this was woven into the couple of words that they shared with us. However, there's something else that I'd like you to think about, because when we're in positions of leading people, making a difference, and that applies to all of us in this room, it not only changes the people we're leading, guiding, directing, advising, helping along a certain path, and you saw that so beautifully said by Tim Durkin. It also changes you as a person, as an individual, doesn't it? And so that's what I'd like to start, if you don't mind, Betty. Betty, you will have a chance, don't you worry, honey. Heaven forbid. We're friends, by the way, so I can harass her. But here's what I'd also like you to be thinking about, so I can have you come on up here for a little bit. And that is, in your year as president, how did that impact you? How did it change you as a person? But Betty, first, okay, 2 to 3 words. Twice, because you were president twice. Stand on up here. How about that?
Honored. It was an honor to be president. Challenging, but in the end fulfilling.
Thank you very much. Come on up here, Betty. And get ready. We'll just quickly go on down the line. I'll call your name out. I know that we're all used to bar stools, so we can handle this. Well, maybe you're not, but I am, okay?
It's where we always meet.
I know. As a person, how did your 2 terms as president change you, or what impact did it make on you?
Well, the first year was a very growing year because I was relatively new to the business, and a lot of the people in the chapter were also new. So I think we all grew together, which was an incredible thing. The second time, it tested my ability to embrace challenges and probably made me a stronger person and made me really appreciate the incredible spirit of teamwork. Because when everybody works together for a common cause, you can create incredible things, and we did.
Thank you, Betty. Appreciate it. Come on up here. And we'll just rotate quickly around. Julie Alexander.
Sure, people need a step stool to get up here. Yeah, we do.
How did it impact you as a person, as an individual?
Wow, it was a long time ago. I feel that I grew up in many ways as a leader, as a person. During my year as president, I had a wonderful board, and as Betty said, if you don't have that great board behind you to really help you achieve the goals, you're in big trouble. And we had a wonderful board, and it was just a huge privilege to serve this chapter.
Thank you again, my dear lady. Michael, come on up here. Yeah. Michael, would you mind straightening your tie, honey? Okay, much better. You're sure you're comfortable here? You're good? Yeah. You're not nervous, Michael? Oh, no.
Bring on the heat, baby. Oh, what did I learn? I had never really been in charge of a board before, or actually been on a board before, sorry, an NSA. So if anything, if it's encouraging for you folks, if you've never done it before, get involved, throw your hand up. It was something that I think really put into practice all the things that I like to talk about, all the things that I like to teach, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do it. And so you get involved in a great group of people like this, there's nothing more fun than working with your friends to move something forward and to have as much impact on us as possible, and it was just a blast. It was probably the hardest year I had in a long, long time. And even thinking back, that was a pretty tough year with growing a business and also working here, but it was probably the most fulfilling at the same time. Blast, it was a lot of fun.
How did it personally impact you as a person, as an individual? What did you get out of it yourself?
That's an excellent question. Really sort of a justification that I know when I talk a lot about being influential on purpose, having impact. When you walk into a room, you have impact and you have influence. It's just a matter of approaching it on purpose and doing things on purpose, doing and saying things on purpose to be a person of influence as much as you can. And so that year, when you work with friends, it's also a volunteer army. You have no power. There's no authority. But you do have this is an entire room of AAA personalities. It's not A personality, these are AAA personalities. You can't breathe sometimes with the egos in the room. So you get a whole board of that, and people that just want to be successful and they've got all this passion and power. It puts into practice, and so for me personally, it was a big time growing year for does this stuff really work, and as far as the skill sets of working and managing people, especially when you don't have authority, that was my personal growth here.
Thank you very much. Round of applause. Alex, come on up here. Almost a leadership on steroids, right? Yeah. Steroids are drugs, Michael. Okay. Alex, how did your year impact you as a person? What did it change in you? What did you learn and grow and become as a result, as well as your greatest challenge, your success?
I'm a little bit of a yin and yang kind of person. Like I said, the year was... No.
You'll get your turn, honey. Just hold on, okay? Or you may not. We'll see.
No. So I start the year with a lot of creativity. We brought a ballet dancer from the Texas Ballet Theater to show us how to improve our carriage, Manny Medrano, whose father was killed by the drug cartels, and he ended up prosecuting them. And we brought people that really were unusual and looked at things very differently and very creatively. At the same time, we followed two very successful presidents and years. And my board was a little bit, we've had 2 great years. We don't need to, let's just sit back and enjoy this ride. Maybe we should even reduce dues. And I said, this economy is getting ready to take a hit. You see, that was the beginning of 2008, and 2 months later, my board was really glad that I had advised them we needed to be very sound fiscally. So I'm the yin and yang. I believe in the creativity and the sparkle and the shine, but at the same time, the discipline to make sure you're taking care of business. So working with my board and developing trust, because they could see the sparkle and the shine part, but they didn't quite understand how dedicated I was to making sure that this chapter was left in good, sound financial condition.
Thank you very much, Alex. Appreciate that. Sally, come on up here. You okay?
This is just like a bar stool.
Sally, it is a bar stool.
Oh, thank you. Who are the people?
It was a breakfast. We invited people in. It's a Tupperware convention.
Okay. So glad you could be here. Has she already asked me a question? No. Okay. Well, the answer is yes.
And you have now won $10,000, Sally.
Okay, well, I'm just going to go with, like, if the question was, what did I learn?
And how did it impact you, your year as a president? I'll go slowly with you. Just work with me.
Okay, first of all, I learned that I could do it because I had to be convinced to become president. Didn't really think that was something that I could do. And I would say never follow Michael. That's who I had to follow. But he was one of my biggest cheerleaders, and I could do it. And, the president is only as good as the board and the people in the chapter. And so I was very privileged to be president. It was a busy year. Everyone said, you will find your speaking career will take off when you're president. And it's so true. It's you're busy enough as it is with the job of presidency, but I had an extremely successful year that well. And I learned to delegate because you have to delegate as president. And now I can't see the people. So I'm going to sit down.
It's okay. It's now the International Harvesters.
Oh, I love those people.
Round of applause, please. Susan, come on up here. At least you get to have... No. No. Niki. This wasn't planned, and I'm on drugs too, Susan. Sense of community. I think more than we're back to the very beginning, the 2 or 3 words. Sense of community. I think I learned what family was all about in terms of challenges, successes, when there are tough times, when there are good times, how people can really stick together and root for the same cause when you're mission-based. And I thought that was very, very important.
And for you personally?
I grew. I learned a great deal. I like to observe. I like to jump in. But I think being president in my year, it was about what could I do to not only stretch the group and stretch and push us all, inspire us all forward with this incredible team that we had, but also myself. It touched me very deeply, so I learned. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate it. Well, this wasn't in the plan, but go girl.
So in my year, I challenged everybody, just like JFK, let's go to the moon. I said, endless imagination, what can we do? And I had a board of the most amazing, brilliant, creative, collaborative people. It was just a joy. Every board meeting, it was just great. And we all held everybody else up. It was just wonderful. And so what we really focused in on was value. What can we bring to the chapter? Value, 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 because we said we can become magnetic. The more value we bring, the more people will come. The more people will see the enrichment, the more we can help. So we came up with HOG, thanks to Tim Durkin naming it, heard it on the grapevine. And we also had to watch our budget. So at the time, the hotel that we were at was way over expensive, and so we went on a mission to find a whole new place, and that's how we ended up here. And it was well within our budget. It was a classy, prestigious place. And we thought, you know, we don't have to cut budget and cut our classiness and our prestigiousness. I mean, we're a great bunch of people. And so I took that even personally. So I look at my own business and I say, okay, what can I do that's within budget, that is, you know, aligned with my profile? And then how do I keep adding value, value, value to my clients so I become magnetic?
Wow. Thank you very much. Round of applause, please. I think sometimes we forget when we're involved in serving that it's also aspiring, and we try to cut corners and we cut our budgets and somehow it doesn't work. And that's one of the things that I have seen and admired with the leadership in this particular group. That and what we did at the conference was just a fabulous example of that, in that as a group, we set the bar. Make believe I'm 6'4". We set the bar that high, because that's what this group is about. Betty, come on up here, please. Remember I said you get to go twice? And I forgot the questions. So I hope you remember. I put my notes down. It's over. What are you proud of?
What was I proud of? Number one, I was proud most of all my first year that we established the Joe Charbonneau Award. It gave us an opportunity to honor an incredible man who meant so much to our chapter and to everybody in it, and to kind of pay that forward so that people thereafter could be honored in his name. And secondly, the thing that I would be proud of in my second time, thank you, Steve, it was a difficult year and it did take rebuilding, and we did that, and we put money in the bank, and so that when Steve came in, he had money, and we had a lot of fun doing it, and I think everybody grew, so I'm proud of that year.
Thank you, my friend. Steve, come on up here and tell us what you did with the money. That wasn't the question, Julie. Show us the money, kiddo.
So some of you are subscribers to a 3-minute coach that I write and publish each week, and I wrote a recent one. I wasn't thinking about this meeting and the conversation here, but a recent one was a distinction on leading a charging horde versus running in front of an angry mob. You got the visual? Got the kinesthetic? Okay. So for whatever reason, and Betty will remember, the president-elect suddenly wasn't going to be president. And so I was in charge of membership that year with Betty, on Betty's board. And so not long before the years to start, it was, okay, Steve, you're up. And so the second secret is this: visit with everybody in the chapter, interview people, and set a very high bar and build a board of people who really want to do what they want to do. And don't sell any job down to a board. Oh, this is easy, you can do it, it'll only take a little while. No, say, you know, this is a really important job. This is going to take somebody really good, and you're going to have to learn and you grow. And so if you want to do this, know that that's the game. And then I just was able to lead a charging horde in that year. We had a great, great year. And a lot of fun. We all grew, and bless you, have fun.
Hey, Nikki, wait a second. I have to give an accolade to Steve.
Oh, good. I love this. Ooh.
I was talking to someone about this at the winter conference. The year that Steve was president, and what year was that? Can you remember that far? 94, 95, I was on Steve's board, and he said, okay, I've got to tell you something. The thing that is coming is something called the internet. And we said, what? He said, there's going to be something called the internet. And he said, I have already purchased a domain name. You know, we're looking around saying, what is that? And it is speaker.org. This is the man. This is the man.
I'd forgotten that.
You did.
I had forgotten that completely. Wow. We leave our breadcrumbs where we can, right?
So that's where the money went, huh? Wow.
We had a treasurer who posted all deposits twice. That's why the money looked really good.
And I don't believe that you've answered this. Personally, how did it impact you, your year?
I discovered, just get the heck out of the way of really happy, good people and encourage them and support them. And let's go have a good time. And that's really how I grew. It's great.
Thank you, sir. Round of applause. Linda Swindling. Come on up here, honey. Challenge, success, and how did it change you as a person?
Well, first off, my challenge was I didn't have a song. Do y'all know that during Julie Alexander's year, we had a song? And it went like something like, at NTSA, we're spreading the word. Do you remember that? John Arnold Smith. Commitment. We had a brand new board. And Stu and I were the only ones. Our whole board turned over. And just restaffing and getting people encouraged and then watching this commitment. And, that innovation that I was talking about, try starting a brand new thing. It was very innovative. We tried a lot of things. Some stuck, some didn't. And just seeing these amazing people just willing to step up, and they didn't have to just be on the board. They're throughout here where they just said, I'll be willing to try. A lot of them are serving on the board now. Yeah, thanks.
And as a person?
Let it go. Let it go. You can do the best you can, and I almost took it on as a job. And one of the things was you do the best you can, and Michael told me this, Mike Hoffman, he said, pick a couple of things, Linda, and then let the rest go. Just do the best you can. So, I think I took that into my speaking too. It's, you do the best you can. Sometimes you get an audience member that just stinks, and you just let it go.
Thank you, Linda. And last and certainly not least.
I was lucky enough to be sandwiched in between two amazingly charismatic leaders, Eloise Owens before me and Michael Hoffman after me. So I really got to just be me and help my chapter members be themselves and be really passionate about what they loved. And the thing I am most proud of was developing leaders and picking the right people for my board, people like Maura Schreier-Fleming, who I knew I got to have somebody that if I say, will you get this done, she will say yes, and it will be done perfectly. And people like Sally Baskey, who didn't know how brilliant she was, but I did. And not only did I get her into a role where she could really influence the entire chapter as program chair, but I remember with Michael twisting her arm to become president after Michael, and it was a very smart move. So I was really proud of that. But the thing I think I'm most proud of was having someone like Carlos Sanchez, who was not yet a member, but I got him involved. He was doing registration, became a member, later became president, and then convinced me against my better wishes to become the dean of the academy. And that was probably the most exciting experience I've ever had. And some of those, of what I call my academy kids, are now the leaders of this organization. And I'm so proud of that.
How did it change you personally?
Well, that was the year just after my brother passed away. And if I didn't have Christine and Eloise and Sally and Michael and Maura and these other people, this NSA family, and Susan Gatton, who was my presidential appointee deliberately because I knew I could lean on her, I couldn't have gotten through that. They helped me through a very difficult time and taught me how to be that way for others. And I am forever grateful for this board family. I just recently reposted our board picture on my Facebook page because I just love these people so much, and they meant so much to me and still do.
Stand up. Bravo. Bravo.